Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to one of the series of our calls for this bootcamp. Of course, this bootcamp basically is comprising of front end. We are looking at how we can build front end web applications. So basically, we are learning languages like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React. So this bootcamp is running for 5 months. We started it early May. Of course, for some of you might be new. I've always been sharing the folder with the recordings, and I hope you'll follow. And then today, we are still on HTML. So today we are going to look at how we can create forms in HTML. So it is not muted. Okay, let me mute this. Okay, so we are going to look at how we can create forms in HTML. Basically, you have been interacting with different websites. You find there's a form where they're asking you to fill in your details like your email, your password and something like that. So basically, we're going to look at how we can create those forms today. And like I said, this is some of the series of the classes. So we're going to continue from where we stopped. Previously, like yesterday, we looked at how we can create tables. And in the previous days, we have been looking at other aspects of that. So for today, we are going to look at how we can be in position to create what? To create tables. Somebody's hand is up. Yes, Mr. Drungi. Maybe before we start, I'm seeing your hand up. Yes, can go ahead. Yes, Mr. Drungi, your hand is up. I don't know whether it's by mistake. Okay, let me assume it's by mistake if you're quiet. So we are going to construct a basic HTML a structure. For this case, we know how to do. Of course, it's the doc type and what so forth. So here we are yet going to select our language because we have not saved our work. So I'm going to pick our language is HTML. Now I'm going to Control S so that my work is saved. So when I Control S, of course, it opens my resource repository or where I'm putting my codes. This case, I created a folder on desktop called Bootcamp Resources. And then I'm specifically working on them in the folder called projects. You can see other projects are here. So now I'm going to, since I have another project already I've worked on us creating forms, let me say practice forms. I'm just naming it like that. You can name it in any way. So I'm going to say practice forms. I'm just naming it like that. So I've already named my work. So what am I going to do? I want to write the basic HTML structure, the syntax, which is the doc type. I'm seeing a message, okay. Okay, fine. Mr. Drungi is new. How can you get previous copy? Okay, let me text you my number so that you get to me. I've texted the number there on the chat. You can inbox me. I'll add you on the class WhatsApp platform where you can access all the recordings, or you can follow us, iFed Technologies on YouTube. You will find all the resources there. Okay. Now, I don't want us to keep that long still on others. Of course, people who are new, you will obviously catch up. And please feel free to ask questions where maybe you don't understand. Some of them, if you're really new to this, may appear complex today, but never mind. So here we're going to write, I'll write it quick, assuming that at least we all know. So when I talk of doc type HTML, I'm defining the type of the HTML document I'm working with. This is HTML5. So when I type HTML, I refer to the root folder. Of course, in the video recordings, they're all there. All these explanations are into details, especially when you start with the introductory videos. I'm just typing it fast because what we're looking at today is basically something else, not this basic structure, but it's okay. So let me type quick. I'll just briefly talk about it. Then we shall continue. So basically, all websites you see, they have this structure. Any website, regardless whether it is complex like what, whether it's what, it is built like this. It has the HTML, and this is the skeleton. So when we talk of the head, that is the section of the metadata, for example, maybe the name of your site where you see it up on the browser tab there. So for this case, our title is maybe, let's say, creating forms. Creating forms in HTML. Forms in HTML. Of course, the HTML we are working with is HTML5. When you CDoc type HTML, that is HTML5. There are other versions of HTML, but the most recent is that. So when I open this in my browser, of course, I open by right-clicking. So for this case, I'm going to use Chrome. So when I open here, you can be able to read something up. Seeing a message. Yeah, it is on recording. Yeah, we are recording, Jacqueline. So you can see something up here. You can see something up. You can see something here, which would be the name of the web or what. It is like creating forms in HTML. So that is where our title goes. It goes up in the bar there. It doesn't come like it's not part of your content of the website. So whatever appears on the website is what we refer to as the body. Now, this is the interface where we shall be viewing things on the website. And this side is our coding environment. Now, we have already created the title of the website. Now, we want to come and see what appears in the body of the website. Now, let us use the H1 tag. Let's use the H1 tag. Okay, here's my H1 tag. What should we name it? Okay, let's just say creating my first form. My first form in HTML. I just want to make it very simple and precise. Okay. Oh, good. Somebody is requesting I zoom. Okay, good. Let me see. I don't know. Is it too much right now? I'm not seeing it zoomed. Could somebody confirm from the other side where you're seeing the zoom? Because I'm not seeing zoom on my screen. Somebody on call, please confirm whether you're seeing zoom, whether it is zooming up or not. Is this experience better? Is this better? Let somebody confirm, please. Okay. But I believe this is better now because I'm seeing the screen bigger myself. Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing a message here. Notification. Yeah, good. Okay, fine. So I typed something like creating my first form in HTML. So I'm going to save. I'll just Control S. When I Control S, I'll right click. Well, when I right click, I have to go check where I can, you know. Let me right click. Has been. Why is it my stuff? Have I really saved? Because if I've not saved my work, I'll not be able to shake it. Okay. My cursor is too much zoomed. Okay, I want to open in other browser. If I wanted to open in default, I'll just click on Control B. But of course, I don't want to, open it in the default browser. So we can see here that what I wrote in the body is appearing, creating my first form in HTML. Of course, we have just used the H1 tag. Now, this is how we display things over the internet from, this is a programmer's view. As a software developer or a web designer, you're able to see this. But a user, which in most cases are the clients or the people who use the website, they're able to see this. So they don't see the dirty work you're doing behind. Now here we have done this. We have already created that. Now we want to create what? To start creating our forms. Now we are going to use an element called forms. I'm just going to type forms because some of these are inbuilt functions in HTML. When they wrote HTML, people who wrote the same way we are writing code to develop a website, the same language was also written by other people. Of course, developers have levels. There are those who write in assembly language in zeros. There are others who write in machine language. Like this is a high-level language. It's not purely a language, but of course, it's just a scripting language which helps to structure web. But towards the mid of this course, we shall be able to dive into a little bit much more complex programming languages like JavaScript. It's not that complex though. Yeah, so even if there is a language, of course, there are other people who write this. So these are functions which are there. For this case, we're just going to type on form. Of course, I'm using VS Code, which auto-completes. Otherwise, if you're using other text editors, maybe like Atom or Sublime, they cannot autocomplete. So when I put these elements, the HTML will know, okay, it seems now what I want to do is I want to create forms. Now, if I want to create forms, what type of forms am I going to create? You see, when I save this and refresh here, nothing happens because I've just told the system that I want to create forms, but I've not put in the forms which I want to create. Now, what are we going to do? We have to put a label to tell that this is the type of the form we want to create. So here I've created my label. Okay. Now, if I've created my label, what do I want to create? In this very label of mine. Okay. So the label is for, let me give, for example, the label is for, let's say name. The label is for name. And then let me put your name. This is what it will display, what the label will display. So let's try saving this and see what happens here. So when we come to our browser, when we refresh, we can see a name. There is a name appearing, but now it is a form. Remember, a form is supposed to pick data and receive feedback. Now, if our label is name, where are we going to put our data? If it is a name, how am I going to fill a form? Okay, now it brings up to another thing, which we call the input. So it provides an input field whereby the data is going to be put. Okay, let's look at the input field here now. So we're going to look at input. Then what type of input are we having? Okay. Now, remember when we're talking about name, there are different types of inputs. We can have text, passwords, emails, and different types of inputs. But of course, I'm getting sound back. Okay. Godius, you're on 2 devices. It seems in a close range. You seem to be have connected on 2 devices in a close range. So please make sure that one device is at a distance or you use one to connect. Okay. Now, remember we were able to create what? Our input. Now we have created, we have not yet created the input. We created only the label. Now, remember this label, when we saved, what happened on our browser was, we just saw a name. We don't know what to do with the name. Now, we shall come back here. We shall come back to our code. Now, we shall add what we call the input. Now, this input, which type of input are we going to have? So you click on type. For this case, it is a name. Our name is written in text. So we are going to say text, meaning we are accepting in the input field, what we are accepting, the data we are accepting is what? Is a text. That's basically a name. Then now, if it is a text, what is the ID? What is the ID? I want to explain this later. Let me first write it down. What is the ID for this case? The ID is name. Okay. If the ID is name, then what is the name of the data? Then if I write name, of course, what I put up here is as well name. So when I save this, when I save this and I come onto my browser, I refresh. You see, I have a text area where I can type from. Now, if they ask you, okay, maybe what is your name? I can be able to type my name. I can type Ikobo Ferdinand. So that is how we create text area where we can write in our name. Now I've just written your name. Okay, you have basically written your name. Then there's a situation where when you go to a form, you find that the form you're filling, before you submit, there is a red star by the side, where if you don't fill in, your form will not be in position to go. So that is a condition you can set onto a form. For instance, if people are filling your form and you want to collect all their names, you can put names as a must, meaning you cannot submit the form if your name is not there. So what do? You come here in the input area, you just type required. So when you type required, You come and refresh. So meaning nobody will go beyond this stage. If I type my name and there is another maybe button to submit down here, there is no way I'll be in position to submit if instead of name, I started with another field, another form area, maybe another field, which I decided to fill first. So I'll not be in position to what? To submit my form. Like I said, I first write, and then I explain each line. Okay, let me zoom this further. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, we have started with the form element. Here we have the opening, and here we have the closing. And if you can see, they're in the body. They're in the body. So I said whatever appears on the website is found in the body. Now, when we talk about this opening element form, it is telling the browser that whatever document I'm going to open, or whatever document which is going to be opened is a form. Then it contains very many controls systems which are there. For example, input fields. Others are check boxes. You have seen forms where you're supposed to tick things. Others are radio buttons where you just put a tick to check whether you have accepted something or not. Others are buttons, for example, the submit ones. Now, so it is the starting of a form. So it comprises of all these elements. It combines them same way like this HTML, which is closing down here, which is a root folder for all the HTML doc. So that's the function of the form. Then when we are talking about label, so label specifically associates the text elements which are within a form. For example, here it's label. So we are saying it simply associates what? The text elements which are within a form. Then it also helps in providing description or descriptive instruction in the input field. Like, for example, here, you are able to understand this is, okay, the label type is name, but here you can see this name, which I've just highlighted, the one which is up, having capital N, if you can see it here, it is here. So it gives a guideline for somebody filling the form. What are you supposed to do? So meaning here, enter your name. Maybe even I will write it longer. For instance, if I write here, let me write here, enter your name. Enter your name. So when I save, and I come here, I run. So it is. Some people are on microphone. Please let us mute. Andrew Kule, could you mute, please? Okay. Hope that is got already. Then we are going to the next. Now, we have already looked at one type of form, whereby we have seen the label identifies, gives a description of what the input field is going to be like. And now, when we talk about the input field, so it is used to create, and it gives, of course, an input field like the other box you saw, where somebody can be able to fill in his or data. Then in this example, which we have looked at, it creates a text input field. You can see here in the input, what type of input are we picking? You can see here, we are picking what? Text. Meaning, if you're filling this form, you come here and type numbers. For example, maybe 07767708006. You type your contact. The form will not accept. It will not be in position to what? To accept, because the condition it has been given is the type of the input is supposed to pick is text, not numbers. Then the ID links to the form, which is up here, links to the label. It identifies the type of the input field, and it should be able to match with the for attribute. If you put this name here in the for attribute with capital letter N and ID is different, you will get an error. It will not come out. So you make sure that whatever you're putting in the label for attribute should be the same as what is down here in the ID attribute. And then when you're talking about the name, So name assigns the input or the data submitted in correspondence to each value. Remember, this data you're picking is going on the server side. For example, is going in the back end. So the name, this name picks this data. For instance, if I enter my name as Ikowa Ferdinand in the input field, in the input area which required me to type text. Therefore, on the server side, which is in the back end, it will be this, like, for example, if you're developing data sets or databases using maybe Access or any other tool, you find there is a heading. So it will have that heading name, this name, and then it will pick the input or whatsoever I will put here. Now, when I put required, meaning I cannot go to another form without having filled the first one. So I think we are done with the first one. Let's look at another type of input type. Okay, we have put name. Let's look at email. Let's look at how we can add emails to our forms. Let me zoom in a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to copy this. When I copy this, I'm going to paste it down here. So when I paste, now I'm going to see what do I want? I want somebody to enter the email. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my for attribute in the element label here. My for attribute is going to change to email. I'm going to type email. Then instead of enter your name, I will say enter your email. Which type of text am I taking? Which type of data? No, this time I'm picking an email. I'm not picking text anymore. What is the name of the ID? Okay, my name of the ID is also my ID is as well email. Remember, this is what I placed up in the for attribute, and they should all be similar. So it will be email. The name as well is email because that's how I want it to be on the server side. So I'll put email. Do I still want it to be required? Okay, fine. I want it to be required, so I'm going to leave it there. I will save. When I save, I'm going to come here and refresh. So you can see, enter your name, enter your email. So we have got two text areas. However, you find they're all on the same line. Now it doesn't make sense. I want to put it this side. I'm going to add what we call a line break. It's some sort of text formatting. So if I want to add line break, what I'm going to do, I'll come up here. Then I'll open, I'll put my bearer tag. When I put my bearer tag, that is single line spacing. It gives space between line. And it doesn't have the closing because they're standalone. It doesn't carry text within. So you don't close it. Remember, when you're closing other tags and elements, we are using the / and what for it. It doesn't. So let's save and refresh. We see what happens after us adding the bearer tag. So you see, it has come this way, but they are packed together. There is no space. So what should I do? I'm going to add another bearer tag to have double line space because single line space is not helping me. Still making my work look bad. So I'm going to add another one. I'll save. And then I come back. Let me check what happens now. You see, now I've got a space in between my forms. So I've gotten enter your name, enter your email. What else? Okay, let's look at password. Okay, let me copy. Let me copy plus the bearer tag so that I don't struggle putting it back. I'm just copying because I don't want us to labor, you know, typing, and we are using the limited version of Zoom. Okay. So I've pasted again. Now, what did I talk of? I talked of, we are adding password, right? Okay. Now we are putting password. Who can tell us what should the name of our label be? Somebody tell us, what should be the name of our label? Label for? Anyone, you can text in or whatsoever before I continue. What should I put here in the names of label for? Remember, at first we said when we wanted to enter the name, we said label for, we used the name. Then when we wanted the email, we said label for email. Okay, I'm seeing something in the chat. Good. Someone is saying label for password. Very good. However, how are we going to put it? Are we going to capitalize? I can see you have capitalized. Are we putting it in capital or in small letters?
Let's use small letters.
Very good. So, okay, we are going to put small letters. Okay, then what should I put here? Saying enter your email. So I think by default, we're going to say enter your password, right? Okay, so we're going to say enter your password. What is the input type? Who can guess the input type here? Somebody to guess for us the input type. Okay, I'm seeing something in the chat. Very good. The input type again, we are going to say is password. Okay. So our input type is password. I'm seeing something on the chat. Yeah, good. Yeah, excellent. So we are going to say our input type is password. So our ID as well is password. Then our name is also password. Geez, we are remaining with 10 minutes. Okay, let's try to wrap it up. Let me save this. So if I save this and I run, so you see, it is bringing for me option to enter the password. So when I type, you see, because it is a password. Oh, somebody saying password. Okay, but will that password enter your password work? Okay, yeah, we are going to see this. Okay, let me not even go to this. Somebody's asking, will it work? Okay, here we're asking, enter your name. I've entered my name. Enter your email. You see, it is automatically picking my emails. Like now, let me zoom it closer. You can see when it is enter your name. Okay, when I click here, enter your name, it's bringing for me options for name. Now, enter your password. You get the point? I mean, enter your email. It's not picking my names. It's picking an email. What it thinks is it's having an email. Then here, enter your password. So because we have said our ID and we are typing password, when you type this, you see, it has closed. You are not able to view it. Of course, we shall look at where we can allow it to our password to be seen and other parts later. What else should we look at? Okay, let's stop at maybe submitting. We shall look at checkboxes later. We're having 10 minutes only. So basically we have looked at, okay, enter your name, enter your email, enter your password. I don't know, should we look at submit or subscribing? Somebody tell us. Should we?
Submitting.
Okay, fine. It's okay. We are going to look at submitting now. We are going.
We can look at submitting and cancel.
Okay, fine. We shall look at others later. So let's look at how we can, bring in a submit option. Okay. Now, if you want to submit, let me first zoom in. Let me zoom in. If you want to submit, it's simple. I'm going to start by, okay. I'm picking in input. What's my input type? It is a submit now. So when I click on submit, I understand. Okay. And then the value, what do I want it to do? The value is submit. I'm seeing a message. I'll come to that. The value is saying submit. Okay. Let me save before I come to that. To what? To the message which is in the chat. Let's see what happens. So here I have my submit button for submitting the form. Maybe before we go to why this one is on the same line, let me see this message. Oh, somebody suggesting we also look at radio buttons. Okay, let's see how many minutes are we having. 6. Okay, good. Let me try how fast we can do it. Okay. Now, I think we should be aware of the reason as to why this one is on the side. We did not put the bearer tag. So I'll just come here quick. I'll copy these double ones because they're there already. I don't want to struggle. So I'm going to copy. I'll come here. I'll save. So when I save, I can easily refresh. So we can see submit is this side. Okay, we shall come to correct that one later. Let's first quickly do a radio button. Okay, remember with the radio, it needs a lot of input fields, but nevertheless, it cannot stop us from doing. Okay, let me start with the BR. In case time cuts us, that's where we are going to start from. Okay, let me click on the label quick. Label. What should we say? Okay, let's look at gender. Maybe for, I think that's one of the most popular ones. Gender, where there is male and female, for you to tick which one is which. Okay, let me put it as gender. Okay. Now the input types I want. The input type I want is radio. ID, male. Name. Gender. Value. Male. So here, what I'm trying to tell, that while selecting, if I click on, okay, it is on gender, of course, it has to bring for me option for male or female. But when I click on the ID, which is the gender name, where the ID is male, I should be able to take the value, which is male. Now, let us look for female as well. Let's look for the one for female quickly. Let me just copy this instead of typing. We are remaining with 3 minutes. Let me hope we shall be quick. Okay, still our input type here is radio. Now here we are going to change it to female. To female. The gender will also be, we shall leave it as gender, and then the value will remain female. Let's save this and see what is happening. This side. Okay, why are we having gender twice? Let me check this out. What did I do wrong in the code? Instead of selecting gender male and female, let me see. Okay, this label was not necessary. I copied the wrong stuff. Copied the whole of it. Let me save and see. Okay, I've made it gender, but it's not displaying whether who is female and who is male. Let me check what's wrong with the code quick. Okay, input type radio. Label for gender, input type gender. Okay. Input. Let me see. Input. type radio, ID male, name, gender, value, male. Is fine. Label for male. Okay. There is one line of code which I didn't specify. Okay, label for male. I didn't specify the point where it's supposed to give it name. Label for male. Let it out. Let it put for us a sign that it is male. Geez, we have less than 1 minute. Let me try running this. I see whether it has displayed it already. Good, it has already displayed the one for male. So that's the same stuff I have to carry. And I bring this side of females. So please, the class is about to go, but we can finish it tomorrow if we arrange, or we can start with it before.